Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to Cloudland YouTube channel. So today we are having a Jenkins workshop. So before going ahead, can you confirm is that my voice is audible or not? Can somebody confirm? Do you see any confirmation? Akshay, Sankalp.
Yep, I can see a yes from Abhinav.
Okay, awesome, awesome. I see. Most of the people are busy with the IPL. So today is the RCB and RR match is going on live. So maybe we should change the timing, Akshay and Sankalp, going forward.
Yep,
So on weekend there are two matches. So like evening and night. So maybe we have to change the timing.
definitely.
Yeah. How are you
I
guys?
second that.
Yeah. So how are you guys? Hope you are doing well. So what's the weekend planning? So how's the previous sessions? How are you excited about this section? So please comment down. Let us know. So we will wait for 2 more minutes, and I will start. So meantime, you can comment down what you have learned from Circle CI, GitLab, any feedback or suggestions to us, or any doubts you can ask.
I can
Uh,
see a comment from Giri Shankars that very much excited to learn the CI/CD using Jenkins.
awesome.
We got you
Great one.
covered.
Yeah.
Okay. He says that I'm a newbie to this channel and this is my first live. So probably Lakshman, if you could give brief about little bit on the Cloudland side. So
Yeah.
yeah, just for the folks who are new. Yeah.
So, Girishankar Cloudland is a community which we have started on February 2023, where we want to help the community to grow in DevOps and cloud. So, and in these tough times, so if you go to any institute or mean like they're charging like crazy. So we want to we thought of having some free workshops or boot camps. We already finished our first boot camp, and we got some successful students are out from the first boot camp as well. So that's not all about it. We are doing workshops. Going forward, we will be having podcasts in YouTube and interview preparation strategies. We have WhatsApp community where we post all the latest updates and all. And yeah, we are we are doing pretty much this stuff. So yeah, you can follow our LinkedIn page. You can follow our Instagram and YouTube channel for the latest updates. Yeah, and soon, tentatively, we will start our second bootcamp batch for DevOps. Uh, yeah,
All right.
for more updates, follow our LinkedIn and all our social
Yeah.
media platforms. Yeah,
To the folks who are new to this channel and they don't want to miss the updates or the live stream going forward, just make sure you subscribe to our channel and just
yeah,
see the such useful content. All right, I guess we are around 4 of 4. So yeah.
yes. So today workshop is going to, I mean, is handled by Sankalp. So Sankalp is a software engineer working at Rubrik. So if you take about his experience, he is having around 3.3 years of experience. He worked on has been as intern. Then he became as a DevOps engineer one. After that, he became senior DevOps engineer. After working 2.6 years, he recently moved to rubric. So he joined as a software engineer. So basically, you would say Sankalp, DevOps engineer and now software engineer. Basically, you can assume like he's an all-rounder. So that's not all about Sankalp. So he is certified in AWS, professional architect and associate architect, and the CKA and GCP certified associate cloud engineer, and 1x into OCI certified and Oracle certified. So many into his bucket, like so many certifications. So and also he's not only technical guy. So he's a um, he will play guitarist, and he's having own YouTube channel. You can check bucket at head, I mean junior, I mean uh, correct me if I'm wrong, Sangal.
Right.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
So
correct.
yeah. So, and also Sankalpa previously handled, blockchain community. So, where he deal about this blockchain technology, and he's the one of the co-founder of that community. And now he is the Cloudland core team member. So, I am, honor and privileged to introduce about Sankalp. So, yeah. That's
Thank you
all
so
about
much.
it. Thank you so much, Sankalp, for introducing you. So yeah, please
All right.
take over. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, all right. I deeply appreciate you, Lakshman and Akshay. So yeah, thank you for such a warm welcome. And yeah, so okay, so let's get started. So I need not to reintroduce myself. So okay, so I'll just turn off my camera in order to save some bandwidth because yeah, here today I'm facing some network issues. So yeah, with that being said, let's get started. Let me try to share my screen. All right. If someone can be, just kind enough to say that whether they are able to see the screen or not. So visible, everyone. All right. Thank you. I can see a few yeses. Okay. So with that confirmation, I would like to take uh, this session ahead. So yeah, again, first of all, good morning, good evening, guys, to one and all present here. And yeah, so today is the third workshop hosted by Cloudland. So the first workshop that we had, it was on GitLab CI. The second we had on Circle CI, and today is the third workshop which we are going to cover pretty much Jenkins onto today's workshop. So yeah, so first workshop was hosted by Akhil. Second, was led by Akhil, and the second on Circle CI was led by Akshay. So in case you have missed those workshops, so the session, the link to the recorded session is you can find somewhere here and there in the channel. And yeah, so welcome everyone again. So I am Sankalp, as Lakshman has pretty much given complete introduction. So I won't introduce myself. So coming to the agenda. So the today agenda goes like this. So we'll talk about Jenkins. We'll see what Jenkins is and what is continuous integration, the need for continuous integration, and how we relate this Jenkins with the continuous integration. A sample, a visual CI workflow where the Jenkins fit in this continuous integration. And then once we understand these basic things, we'll see the features that Jenkins offers. Then after that, we'll see about the Jenkins architecture, how the Jenkins thing is laid out, and moving ahead onto the terminology, followed by some demo workflow, and then we'll see how the look and feel of Jenkins is, and what we can do like in as a part of this session. I mean, in today's session in Jenkins. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started on to what is Jenkins. So Jenkins is an open source CI tool or CI server. So it's a community driven tool which is totally written in Java, and it is used to basically manually, periodically, or automatically build the software development projects. So how do we build it? All of these things we'll see in the subsequent slides. And one key feature of Jenkins is, it has got tons of plugins. So, 1,000 plus plugins are available. You can find it online. And this is the key reason, why this Jenkins is most popular tool. And also it is one of the most widely accepted tool for CI. So in case you want to know, you want to see all the details of the plugins and more onto the Jenkins side, you can there is a website jenkins.io. You can just feel free to go over there and check things out on the same. Okay, so without before we move further ahead with Jenkins, I would like to spend some time to understand what is continuous integration. So basically, as you all know, uh, as you all know, just a minute. Hello, am I audible? Just wanted. Okay, all right, cool. Thanks. Yep. Yeah. So I just saw that my network. There was a flakiness in my network, so just wanted to confirm, and that's why I stopped. Sorry about that. So yeah, coming to what is continuous integration. So as you all know that developers basically write some code, and they check in their code onto a shared repository, which we pretty much familiar, which we call it as version control systems, right? So we do have GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, and all those things, right? So developers basically commit the code to the shared repository on a regular basis. So developer creates a feature, work on the feature, they write some test, and then they check in the code to the probably the master, the master or main branch in the repository. So once the code is checked in, the code has to be built, right? So we need to create some artifacts so that it can be shipped to the production, shipped and deployed to the production. So basically, we need to monitor version control system. So whenever a new commit is detected, a build is triggered automatically. So this is all about continuous integration. So whenever a new code gets checked into the GitHub or any version control system, we the CI server will check for the code changes, and if there is a code change, so a build will be triggered. So when the build is triggered, there can be two chances, right? Like a build is a success or it's a failure. So if the build is a success, we can go ahead and deploy onto our production servers. Or in case if the build is a failure, we can always notify developer immediately. So it's just like an immediate feedback. Moving on. So need for continuous integration. So it's a way to automate and standardize the build and deployment process. So the build process is whenever a new code checks in to the version control, you create a build out of it, and then you deploy it onto the production. So this is a main need of this continuous integration. And the second need is whenever a new code is checked in, so there might be edge cases where the new code might fail, or it has some a little bit edge faulty logic which was not detected earlier while writing the code. So in case to detect problems or bugs as early as possible in the SDLC lifecycle, so there is a need for continuous integration. So as soon as new codes are checks in, so you build the code, and you can see that if the build has failed or it has succeeded. So if it is succeeded, it is it can be a production build, and it can be deployed onto the production environment. So that is the core need of continuous integration. Okay, and the last point, since the oops, yeah, the last point, yeah. So you get a better quality software. So it's just more of a follow point from the second point. So how you get to build like better quality software because you detect problems or bugs early, right? In your build, so you can you can just catch all of these bugs earlier before you ship it to your production, accidentally. So that is the core need of continuous integration. All right. So now let's see where this Jenkins fit in to this entire sample CI workflow. So as I have said that we have got developers who write some code in the system and they commit the code onto the version control, let's say GitHub in our case. So once they commit the code, so we have got a Jenkins server here, sitting somewhere here that make use of some mechanism. So let's say poll SCM. So it just polls for new changes in the version control, and as the new changes got checked in the GitHub, so it detects the changes and it triggers a build automatically. So whenever new change is detected inside the version control, Jenkins server runs a build, and there are two chances if the build may succeed or may not succeed. If the build succeeds, so we can have a stage that or a step to deploy the new artifacts onto the production server wherever application is hosted. And in case the build fails, so we can again route the reports, the build report to the developers who just wrote the code. So in case they can take a look and just continue optimizing or address the bugs. So yeah, so that was sample CI workflow where the Jenkins fit in. So now let's talk on to the let's take a look on the features of Jenkins. So number one is easy installation. So Jenkins, is a written Java, and it is pretty much easy, pretty easy to install in any of the operating system. Maybe it can be Windows, Linux, Mac OS, or other Unix-like operating system. It is extensible. So in Jenkins, uh, it follows more of a plugin based model. So where we have for let's say for X functionality, let's say you want to check check out the code from Git, right? So we have got a plugin. So plugins are the key that extends the functionality of your Jenkins. So let's say if you want to push some image to the Docker Hub, so there is a Docker plugin. So for everything we have got a plugin. For most of the things, I would not say everything. For most of the things, we have got plugins. So plugins have got us covered. So the functionality of Jenkins is extensible since we have multiple plugins for performing certain tasks. Third thing is distributed. So so Jenkins is Jenkins follows an architecture called as master slave, so which is itself is distributed. So it is capable of building running a build across multiple agents or machines in parallel, so that we can run several pipelines concurrently. So it is distributed. So build can happen, in any of the machines. So yeah. So coming to Jenkins architecture. So yeah. So those were few of the key features of Jenkins. So why Jenkins is widely used, and what are the key functionalities of Jenkins. Coming to the Jenkins architecture, so as I've already explained, that it follows pretty much, master slave architecture. So basically, we have a master node and a slave nodes, probably. Yeah, we can have multiple agents. So you can see that it's a master, and these three are slaves. And you can see that you can have a Windows agent as a slave, Linux agent as a slave, or probably a Docker container as a slave as well. So, what are what is the job of master and what is the use of slave or slash agent node. So master node, so the Jenkins master act like it's the main node where we host our Jenkins UI and probably the Jenkins application. So it basically you like helps us to schedule job, write job, assign jobs. Like you can assign slaves for running certain jobs, and all the details of the pipeline, parameter, everything is stored in the master node. And the build nodes are pretty much the worker nodes or the slave nodes where the actual build for the pipeline happens. So yeah, so that is the basically the rough architecture. And yeah, you like the slave node gets you can connect the master node to the slave node via SSH or GNLP. So yeah, those kind of protocols. Okay. Coming to yeah, next let's see Jenkins terminology. So yeah, there are certain terminology which is being used in in any application. So similar to that in Jenkins we have some. Uh, so the first one is job. What is a job? A job is a a specific task, okay, that contains some set of instructions that has to be like executed. So a job contains several steps, so it which can be either running a build, running a test, or deploying, or it can be something uh, like it can be anything. So a job is just like a task which contains some set of instruction that has to be run as a pipe as a part of pipeline run. What is a build? So the build is nothing but whatever the source code that you have there, that you have in the GitHub. So you just build probably a Docker image, or transforming the code into some sort of software artifact which you can just deploy onto your production where your actual application is running. And like yeah, where the actual application is running, and the application which is being consumed by your users. Coming to a pipeline, so yeah, again, a pipeline is a set of stages and step that defines the entire CI/CD process. So you can nest multiple jobs and can create like highly complex workflow to automate the entire end-to-end CI/CD process. So yeah, so that's about general terminology. So there are a couple of more. So what is a stage? So inside a job, we can have multiple stages, and stage is the logical division, within that particular pipeline. So inside stage, we have multiple steps. So we can have a build step, step, and deploy step. So you can have your own custom steps under a stage. Coming to agent or node, so as I have already discussed that agent is the one where actual build happens. So it is just a virtual machine which is connected to your master, and it has all sort of dependency that are required by Jenkins to perform a build onto that machine. So whenever I say that dependency, I mean basically Java installed OpenJDK and all this kind of thing. So yeah, so agent is the one where actual build happens. Trigger. So a trigger is an event. Uh, so that notifies Jenkins to actual like start a build in any job. A trigger is just an event to perform or to run any pipeline job. So a trigger can be of multiple type. It can be manual. It can be scheduled. So let's say you want to run a pipeline every 12 hours. So you can use this scheduled trigger. If you want to manually trigger a pipeline, you have got manual trigger, and there is poll SCM. So there are a lot of triggers that are available. So based on your use case, you can just always choose a trigger. Coming to artifact. So artifact uh, are the ones. So whenever we run a build in the pipeline, so we get artifact out of it. Artifact can be as simple as a tarball, a Docker image, or maybe any build, right? Any executable which can be directly deployed onto your production. So yeah, generally these are the end products that we get after running a build. Coming to the plugin, so I guess I've talked enough that plugins are the uh, plugins are the software snippets that extends the functionality of Jenkins and used to and it can help you to perform certain tasks, let's say cloning a repository or anything. So if you want any additional feature, if you want to connect to S3, if you want to connect to AWS, so we have plugin for the same. So yeah, that you can just install over and above of like on your Jenkins. Okay, so enough of talking, enough of slides. So I would like to just deep dive into the Jenkins UI. And yeah, at the very last, I'll show you our demo workflow. So the demo workflow will be so I have a code over here. Okay, just let me open. Mhm. Okay, oops, just a minute. Just give me a minute. I have closed my GitHub accidentally. All right. So here is my simple portfolio. So this is the application, just a sample application, contains some bunch of HTML and CSS, nothing fancy. So this application is the one is hosted in my it's checked in my GitHub, and yeah, we'll be trying to build this application and deploy onto a VM, that we have already hosted in GCP. So yeah, so the task is how we can, uh, clone this code, build the Docker image, push the Docker image to Git like Docker Hub, and deploy the application. So this will be our, like demo workflow for today. And here is the one uh, where we will be storing our image. So yeah. So before we talk more on this, I would like to give a brief walkthrough on the Jenkins UI. So you can see that my Jenkins is running in localhost 8080. So I'm just running this Jenkins in my local system as a Docker container, and you can see that I have bunch of pipelines over here, so which I've used for my previous things earlier. So this is the Jenkins UI. You can see a few of the things over here. You can see the first thing, new item. So new item is the one like where you can create different kind of projects or pipelines. So the most popular project, so just to start with, is a freestyle project and a pipeline project. So in the freestyle project, you can just it is one of the most simple project to start with. So you can use like a lot of plugins inside this project and write some execute shell commands and create your first pipeline job. And coming to the second thing, which is pipeline. So here is the one where you can actually write some, Groovy script. So Groovy script is the one which Jenkins like use to create some scripted pipelines that can have multiple stages, steps, which where you can perform your certain task. So yeah, so just to save our time, I have already created, little bit of pipelines. So instead of, creating things from scratch, we would rather leverage the already existing content. So here you can see this is one Hello World pipeline. So world's most simplest pipeline. So here you can see that so it's more of a freestyle project. So you can see the description. You can write the description here about your pipeline. And this is the place where you can actually have the parameters. So you can have your custom parameters which you can leverage uh, for providing values to your code while running your pipeline. So you can create certain, several parameters of different kinds. So you can have a Boolean parameter, choice parameter, password parameter. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that you can make your project parameterized using these various kind of parameters. So you can just add a new as well over here. So for source control, source code management, uh, so you have here a Git and a none. So Git is like this is something which is coming from a plugin, Git plugin, and you can give your repository URL, the credentials to connect to your repository, and the branch where your code reside. Oh yeah, so from where you need to start a build. So this is how you can have code, like I mean source code management. So I talked about the triggers, right? When I talked on the Jenkins terminology. So you can see we have, bunch of triggers that got us covered for varying use cases. So you can see build periodically. So here, if you want to build your Python job, as I already said, that is, let's say if you want to run a build every 12 hours, you can just, just put a cron uh, thing here over here, cron expression over here, that will just, automatically trigger a build at the certain time. So this is one way. Another way is trigger build remotely. Another is poll SCM. Poll SCM is, yeah, again I've talked that if you want to poll the source code, I mean your repository where your source code reside. If you want to poll that repository after every 2 minutes, 10 minutes, or 1 hour for changes, you can use this kind of trigger. So which is poll SCM. So whenever I make a commit, uh, I push a commit to this repository. The poll SCM will keep on polling this like repository for newer commits, and as soon as the new commit is found, the build will be scheduled. So yeah, so these are the covered, like these are the different triggers. Sorry, yeah. And coming to the steps, so these are the steps where you can actually write some commands, you know, to perform any task, certain task. So maybe you want to run a build, like Docker build hyphen T something, you want to create a Docker image out of a Docker file. And yeah, similarly, you can add multiple execute shell commands and have sort of all such logistic that you need for deploying your application. And yeah, last but not the least, so we have this post build actions. So let's say as I've talked earlier, that whenever you run a build, it can be a success, it can be a failure. Again, there are other phases, I mean aborted or something. So generally I'm talking about success and the failure. So based on those things, let's say if your this build got success, if you want to schedule a subsequent subsequent pipeline, if you want to run it in case of uh, in case of a successful build, let's say you want to deploy it onto production, you can add that section in the post build actions. And let's say if the build got failed due to some reason and you want to export the report, you want to just send it to the your dev team, you can just create a separate job that does the same and just attach it over here, post build action. So that is, how things are laid uh, in Jenkins. So yep. So let's build this Hello World project. So you can see, right? Whenever you click on build with parameters, so it will ask for your parameter. So this is some sample parameter. It doesn't make any sense right now, but just for the sake of showing you, I just went ahead with this sample parameter. So I just run a build, and you can see the build has started, and it has succeeded, and you can see just had echo hello world, which just came out from the execute shell command, right, that I've shown you over there in the configure section. Yeah, so that's how uh, you know generally we run a build. So yeah, before moving before moving ahead with other set of pipelines, I would like to show you some other things. So if you go here, so there's something called as manage Jenkins, and here is something called as nodes and clouds, right? So I've talked on this Jenkins architecture, right? So it's more of a master and slave architecture. So where this is our master, whatever you're seeing is our master, and the slave. So where is the slave? So slave is the one, it can be any virtual machine that you can attach it to your master, I mean Jenkins master, and run some build on it. So this is the one. Jenkins slave is the one which we have already created. Uh, a VM that has all the set of dependency. Just for the interest of time, we don't want to like do this thing live because we have a fixed time allocated for this session. Yeah. So if you, in case you want to need more, you can just shoot me a mail, or reach out to me on LinkedIn. So that is one thing. And yeah, so you can see that uh, yeah, I've added a new node by adding over here, test node. So similar way, I created a new node, right? So if you create a new node, you get a bunch of options over here, right? So let me show you the options that are configured for our existing node, which is server, which is named as server. Uh, yeah. So if you see over here, configure. So you can see the home directory inside the slave is like /home /Sankalp. The label is server, and yeah. So I'm launching this agent. I mean, I'm connecting to this machine via an SSH. So this is the external IP of the VM. The credentials, the user credential that I have set up in the virtual machine. And for time being, I'm just using non-verifying verification strategy. So just for host key verification, that is so yeah, so that's how I'm connected to this slave. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show you guys on the slave side. And if you go over here, uh, so okay, okay, it's taking a bit time. All right, okay. Okay, let me show you this thing. So this is the place, manage credentials. So here you can define your own custom credentials. So let's say if you want to uh, connect to GitHub, right? Just for checkout, just for doing a Git checkout. So you have to have your Git credentials, right? So you can add credentials over here. So so let me show you a pipeline. So this is the pipeline for our demo workflow, which is run a website in a container. So I just named it like that. So you can see I've used a source code management plugin over here, right? Which was earlier none in my Hello World pipeline, right? So you can see that this is the target URL for the code where the code is hosted, right? and you can see credentials, right? Sankalp 7654 and slash star star star. So this is something which is coming from credentials. So if you see over here, so this is the credential which is git read only access, right? So that's the location which is under credentials. I have created one credential which is of type name and password, correct? So you can just add like this, right? You can add test username, right? Whatever password you are having, for anything, maybe test, and then testing credentials, right? Something like that. So that's how you can create a new credential uh, in the in the Jenkins, and just you can just link it over here, right? Let me refresh it. So you can see, right, test username and testing credentials. So this is the one which it got reflected over here. So that's how you can have your custom credential and store them securely in your Jenkins. So yeah. So let's move on to the next thing. Let's see what a multi-stage pipeline is. So, as I've shown you earlier, and yeah, when we try to create a new item, so there are two type of project, right? Freestyle and a pipeline. So if you go and create test pipeline project, let's say project, and you click OK. So it will create a new pipeline project, and here you can see pipeline script, right? So you can write Groovy script over here, so which we have written in this multi-stage pipeline. So just let me show you how the Groovy script looks like. So it's again world simplest script. So that starts with pipeline and agent. Agent is the one where you want to run a build. I have chosen any. Any means whatever available agents are there, just run a build, schedule a build over there. Stages. So stages, just a logical separation of the multiple statements, like multiple Linux commands or something, right? So here for logical separation, let's say I create one stage that is build. So build will just uh, doing some npm build or something, right? If we are having some like node based project, or yeah, some things of like that sort. So let's say if you have a Docker file, so you are running a Docker build, right? Create an image out of the Docker file. So those kind of thing you can have under steps, which is coming under this stage. So you can always have some so such commands. So we'll see all these commands, okay, in our demo workflow. So yeah, so stage is just a logical separation of the commands, probably a build, test, and deploy, right? So if you are deploying on the Kubernetes, so you can have some kubectl or Helm chart, Helm upgrade -F install, all those kind of things inside this stage. So that's how you create, your custom like Groovy based pipeline. So you can see all the stages will be reflected over here. And if I do a build now, it will start a build, and it starts it sequentially one after the other. You can see the build stage will be executing first, followed by stage, and followed by deploy. So if I have to check the logs, I can just see the logs. So you can see, right? It is echo building. So which is just a command, echo command in the build stage. Similarly, you have this testing command. Similarly, you have uh, this deploying command. So you can take a look of log completely, I mean, at once by clicking over there, right? So this thing. So this is about multi-stage pipeline. And last, coming to our final demo. So let me reiterate what we are going to do, in just a minute. So in our today's demo workflow, we will be running a Git checkout. So by making use of Git plugin, then once we check out the code from the master branch, So this is the code which contains my simple portfolio, and it has got one Docker file, right? So this minimalistic HTML CSS based thing will be posted in this Nginx container, and yeah, we'll try to build this uh, project, or portfolio code using this Docker build command, and we'll get an Docker image. And once we get the image, we'll push this Docker image to Docker Hub, which is just an artifact tree to store your images, right? So yeah, so this is the location, uh, like Sankalp Saxena / portfolio. So this is where I will be storing and pushing my image. And last, we'll be deploying that, we'll be deploying container out of that Docker image in this particular VM. So I I hope that this workflow makes sense, and everyone is crystal clear on the sample workflow. So let me show you guys. I mean, let me give you a walkthrough on this job that will be performing this end-to-end, uh, end-to-end workflow, right? So let me go to configure. So here you can see, first thing first, we are making use of uh, parameter. So the parameter name is image tag. So I hope that most of the folks are familiar with Docker over here. So here we have to give a tag, right, for our application. So here's a tag name. So while pushing the image and while running the Docker container in the target VM, I will be making use of this tag, which will be coming as an input from the user. So the user will be inputting the tag, I mean, providing the tag as an input, which we will be using as a variable inside our script. We'll see where it is being used. And yeah, here's the Git thing, and we have configured the repository URL, so which is pointing to my simple portfolio, and I've configured the credential, which are my Git read-only access credential that I'm using over here just for checking out. And here you can see we have specified the main branch. So you can see over here that my code resides in the main branch. So that's what I have provided over there. And for build trigger, for time being, I'll just go with a manual build. So manual trigger, so where I have to just manually go there and build it by clicking build with parameter, and I'll pass that image tag, and the build will start. Coming to the build environment, so here I am making use of credentials, or so these credentials are nothing but my Docker Hub credentials. So since I've shown you in the demo workflow that I'll be pushing the image to the Docker Hub. So in order to push it, I need my Docker Hub creds. So that's where I have created my Docker Hub credentials. I mean, store the Docker Hub credential in the same credential which I've shown you earlier, right? If I have to just show you again, let me go over there, manage credentials. So you can find over here, right? You can find over here that Docker Hub creds. So that's where these credentials are coming from. So, and yeah, it has got a username and password. So I'll be like storing that username and password into these subsequent variables, which is Docker Hub underscore username, Docker Hub underscore password. Now you can see I have multiple build steps. So in each step, like every step, so you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically it contains 4 steps, and each of the step is of type execute shell. So where I have just performing some operations. So simple, like the first step is simple. So plugin will already it will all like it will uh, clone the code. So it will basically do a git checkout, and it will clone the code. And yeah, so that's why it is a bit empty, because this just for sake of saying that okay, git the plugin has run, and it has cloned the git repository. And coming to the second step is build the image. So you can see that I'm just checking for a Docker file. So I'll just check if Docker file is existing. If Docker file is existing, then I'll build the image. Otherwise this like step will fail. So yeah, it just check for the appearance of the file. If you found the Docker file, then just run the build, run a Docker build, and run the Docker tag. So it will create an image with the image tag, which will be uh, provided by the user through an input. So yeah, if the file is not found, just abort the build and just exit the pipeline. So yeah, coming to the okay, oops, yeah. So this is the stage three. This is the stage four. Coming to the third stage, push the Docker image to the Docker hub. So I'll just log in. I'll push it. So yeah, so these are the command, and lastly, run the Docker container. So what I'll do is, so since this is not an ideal production, like production environment, I just have this VM running for the for the sake of demo. So the container is already running over here. So what I'll do, I'll just I'll stop the container, remove the container, and then again rerun the container with the latest image tag. So that's how we'll be deploying it. And once it all the steps are successful, we will be able to access the application in this IP, which is the external IP for this virtual machine. So just a quick thing that this Jenkins slave is acting as a build agent as well, and for now as a development server where we are just just trying to deploy the application just for testing. So, okay, I guess enough of talking. Let's try to build it. So I'll click on build with parameter. So here is the one where I'll be providing the image tag. So let me give 2.0.0. So this is the tag which I'm giving. And you can see over here, yeah. So in my this portfolio Docker hub thing, I have these many tags. So 2.0 is not existing. I just wanted to make sure. And now if we click on build, so the build has started. Okay. So you can see that building remotely on server, right? So this is the same server which I have shown you, right? The server over here in the nodes, right? So this is nothing but our this VM, right? Jenkins slave, to whom I have just connected it via an SSH. So the build is it is just about to get started. It is saying that building remotely on server in workspace this. So this is a location where you can find all this the build related files, whatever the build number is. So here 9 build numbers there, right? So you can just find the all the information about your particular build in this particular location in the VM. So it is still running. So let me see. Oops. Okay. So you can see the build has been started. If you go over here, so I am inside this Jenkins virtual machine. So you can see the workspace, right? So in this workspace, you can find all the jobs, right? So you can go over here and you can find this is the place where it just checked out, right? You can see the plugin has used the git read-only access, and then it basically it just checked out this thing, right? git check out my this commit hash, and then this thing. Uh, yeah, so this was the commit message which was found. Create Docker file. So it was the same message, right? The same commit hash, same message. And oops, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, here. So you can see the step one was success, right? So step one, success. Step two, build the image. We just, check for Docker file, and we build the Docker. We run a Docker build, and yeah, we run a Docker build. So these are the logs for the Docker build. And yeah, we tagged it with the version 2.0.0. So this is the same version that I've given in the like image tag as an input, right? If you guys remember. And now then we have just, like once we have tagged it, we are pushing it. So we have just, pushed it to the push the Docker image to the Docker hub. So we just do a Docker login and using the credential, right? So these are the credentials which I've shown you, which are stored in the Jenkins credential. And then we just pushed it, and login was succeeded, and the push was also a success, right? So just to confirm, let me reload this file. I mean, reload this web page, and you can see there we go, right? So 2.0.0, it just pushed a minute ago, and yeah, and the last step was run the Docker container. So Docker container is so yeah, it just container RM application. Yeah, it just stopped the earlier container which was running as an with the name application. Uh, okay, I just realized that I okay. So you guys are not able to see my terminal. Just give me a minute. Hmm, just give me a minute. Let me reshare slide, share screen, entire screen. Yep, cool. There we go. All right. Sorry, guys. Earlier I was showing you this path, right? So this was the path. So I'm inside the like server Jenkins slave. So this is the path where the build actually happened, and you can see all the checkout file, right? Git checkout files over here in this location. And yeah, this is the same server where my container is running for the application. If I do a Docker PS, you can see this container is running, right? And it started 2 minutes ago, right? So it is up since last 2 minutes. So yeah, that's when we have started our build. And yeah, so so this is the IP where our application should be accessible. So boom, there we go. So this is the application, right? Which we have just hosted in our like using Jenkins. So after performing all the build, creating the Docker image, pushing the image to the Artifactory, and then deploying it onto our sample dev v like virtual machine, which we can consider it as our dev server. So yeah, so that that's pretty much. So yeah, so you guys can also access this IP, and you can find the application as well. So yeah, again, it was not I mean just to give you guys an overview how we run this end-to-end workflow, right? So I just took this small example, and yeah, there is a lot many things you can do in Jenkins. You can explore this Jenkins.io website to know more about Jenkins plugins, documentation. You can see, you know, a documentation about how to write a pipeline, what are different kind of pipeline, how you can secure Jenkins, how you can manage Jenkins. You can see, right, a lot of plugins are available. If you want to integrate it with Jira, so you can use the Jira integration plugin and all. So yep, so there are tons of things which you can explore. So just to give you a kickstart, I believe that I've laid up a strong foundation for you guys. So with that being said, so that brings me to the session conclusion. So yeah. I'll leave the floor open for any question and answers if in case you have. Yeah, and and yeah, we'll be sharing these content over the LinkedIn as well as live stream will be made live for the folks who weren't able to like make it, so they can always find it over here. So that's pretty much okay. Over to you, Lakshman.
Yep. Thank you, Sankalp. That is awesome section. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the session and you learned something from this session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to comment down. So we are here to answer your questions, and don't feel any hesitation to reach out Sankalp. So here we have Sankalp LinkedIn profile, so you can always reach out to him. Uh, so yeah, that's it for today's session.
All right.
I will leave it for 2 minutes for you if you have any questions. Yeah, let's take the questions.
Yep.
Can you
And
play?
yeah, so just wanted to mention one thing that yeah, so there are more follow-up, workshops that are coming up or down the line and are scheduled for yeah. So maybe Lakshman, you can just show them by sharing your screen. I just shared the link.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cloudland.co/workshop.
yeah. I will do that. So in that meantime, I think you got one question. Hey, Sankalp, can you please create one new Jenkins node?
Okay, okay. So this thing will take a little time. So maybe we can sync up on that probably offline if you want me to do that thing. So can you let me know which at what place you are currently stuck? Probably you can reach out to me over LinkedIn so we can just have a chat and have a look around where things are getting wrong. Okay, so Srinivasu, yeah, he's asking that I'm new to Jenkins. Can you please guide us how to start? So okay, that's a very good question. So just to get started, so there is, you can just read through a couple of blogs as well, and just try to get started with creating pipelines through script, through plugins. The one Hello World pipeline, right? So which I've shown you. So just try to set up Jenkins first using, the most easiest way to set up Jenkins is just running one command that will bring up a Docker container, which will be running the Jenkins application, and then try to create some, install some plugins, explore on the plugin side, create a very simple um pipeline using execute command. So the one which I've shown you, right? Which just a simple one Linux command. Just try to see how the build is happening. If you start and if you don't configure your slave, right? If you don't configure your that slave machine or the worker machine, so basically the build will be running in the master node. So that is totally fine. So it will give you a good kickstart so that your build will eventually start running and you will be able to see some output, and then create some sample pipeline which runs some tons of Linux command, maybe pwd, something like that, right? Create multiple steps, and then explore on the plugin side. uh, yeah, as simple as that. And always, you can just like watch some, I mean, uh, like get some medium blogs or something, right? To get started. And yeah, as the time progresses, you can just like set up a custom slave. Then you can work on seeing that how you can run a certain pipeline in a certain slave. So yeah, things like that. So I hope that I answered your question, right? In case of any other further clarification, feel free to reach out to me. So yeah, based on the thing where, like, based on the place where you are stuck, We can have a chat offline, and yeah, we'll see how we can rectify it. All right, Srini.
Yep. Let me share my screen. Okay. So hope my screen is visible.
Yep, it is.
Yeah. So as Sankalp mentioned, so we are having many workshops in the pipeline. So I think most of you know that. So we are going we are going to have nine tools consecutively, like CI/CD tools. Learn nine most in-demand CI/CD tools in the market for free of cost. So first was already given by Akil PH, and second one is already given by Akshay. That was Circle CI. Now it is Jenkins, and again we have on Cloud Build, GCP Cloud Build, that is going to give given by Rohit Emro, and again we have Tecton by Satya, and Concourse from Siva Subhash B, and Argo CD. It's again Akshay, and Azure DevOps from Sankalp, and again GitHub Actions from Akil Page. If you have any questions, your common questions are answered here. So you can go through this website cloudland.co/workshop. I will paste this link in the chart. Uh, so yep. So don't, if you want to, don't miss. I mean, these workshops. Please stay updated. I know, and follow our social media platforms: LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. So if you have any questions, please reach out us in Cloudland Instagram page and LinkedIn page anywhere, and you can ping us directly in LinkedIn. So we are here to answer. We are here to address your all your queries. So that's it from today's session, guys. Hope you enjoyed this session. So for more workshops, we'll see you in the next Sunday. Maybe we will come up with the new timings. We will think about it. Yeah. So anything from anyone, feel free to ask. Comment down in the comment box. I will wait one more minute. If I didn't get any questions, then we will wrap up this session.
Yep, I think yeah. We have got one question.
Okay.
Uh, So yeah, so what is freestyle project? So freestyle project is one of the most simplest way to just kicking off your first Jenkins pipeline. So in that particular project, you can make use of pipe like multiple plugins and just give the just configure it based on the parameter they are asking, and yeah, you can make use of execute shell command where you can write some bunch of just sort of shell scripting or Linux statements that perform certain tasks. So yeah, that is about freestyle thing. And yeah, so there you can have multiple uh, what steps. You can have post build actions, so things of that sort. So it is similar to the one which I have shown you in uh, in this particular run website in the container pipeline. Let me again show it in the last minute. I hope my screen is up.
Yep.
Perfect. So let's say test freestyle project. Okay. So you can see that you can write the description, some description. Okay. And you can see, right, you can make use of this Git plugin for cloning, right? And you can have build steps, right? So that's what I was meant, like I was talking about. So you can have build steps. So here you can have, simplest execute shell, and you can write some command, right? That you want to perform as a part of steps. So you can have multiple steps. So again, different steps are available, right? So this invoke Gradle script, invoke ant, invoke top level Maven target. So based on the nature of your application, you can just feel free to use this set of predefined steps. Again, you can get more steps by installing the plugins and all. And yeah, so the simplest step is execute shell that allows you to execute your custom command. So yeah, so that's all about freestyle project, and you got these triggers, the environment settings, and everything. So hope it makes sense to you now, right? Any other follow-ups or questions, Shrini? All right, I'll take it as a no. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Once again,
thank you so much, guys. Yeah,
yeah. Thank you so
see you.
much. Thank you so much, Sankalp, for the amazing session. It was a great session. And so this is not, I would say we covered everything on Jenkins. So this is getting started for you guys. So you have to work on top of this. So this is the path that we are showing in. So you have to work on top of this, and you have to get more insights on Jenkins. So thank you, Sankalp, for the amazing session. So see you
Thank
guys
you.
in the next week. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Have a great Sunday, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.